Should we be worrying about the new central banking digital currencies, also known as CBDCs? Now this video is a part 2 of CBDCs. You guys seem to really enjoy the previous video that I did touching on central banking digital currencies. There was a massive response in terms of comments and likes. So I wanted to do a part 2 on this topic, as I only briefly covered a very small section of CBDCs in my first episode. Now, central banking digital currencies, while some people assume that they're a very new thing, they're actually not a new concept. They have in fact been around for 3 decades. In 1993, the Bank of Finland launched the Avant smart card, an electronic form of cash. Although the system was eventually dropped in the early 2000s, it can be considered to be the world's first CBDC. The real reason that CBDCs have returned has to be with the fact that cryptocurrencies have rocketed up. When you look at Bitcoin, for example, in its peak period, one Bitcoin was reaching over £20,000. I mean, that's an insane amount of money. So you can imagine that the central banks of the world, the US government, the Bank of England, have all taken notice of this, and they've clearly cottoned on to the online digital currencies that are appearing. And in my personal opinion, I think that they have worried a little bit about the attractiveness of this digital new age of currency where it's untraceable and untrackable. Now, I say that with a pinch of salt. I don't believe anything is untraceable and untrackable within reason. But, compared to storing your money in a bank account, yeah, it's pretty untraceable, and the government don't like that. Now, I'm not trying to become a doomsdayer on here and start talking about what the government are doing and if they're watching you and that sort of thing, but it has to be talked about because CBDCs have definitely got a factor in the fact that the government do want to have more control. And essentially, what I personally believe, in my opinion, is I don't think that the government want a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin stepping in and destroying the value of, say, the sterling pound, the US dollar, or even the euro. Now, CBDCs, are they similar to cryptocurrencies? A lot of people probably struggle to dissociate the difference between a cryptocurrency and this new talk of central bank digital currencies. And essentially, yes, they are fairly different. A cryptocurrency is essentially looked at as an asset. For example, say this was one Bitcoin. You would buy one Bitcoin with the hope that everybody else rides the wave, which increases the price, therefore being an investment because it's increasing your initial input of money. Whereas a CBDC will not do that. A CBDC is essentially an online form of digital money. Now, what the Bank of England are saying in their report of their possible design of their new Britcoin, as they call it, is £1 or £10, for example, in fiat cash will be £1 or £10 in CBDCs. So what they're saying there is that there's no need to worry, because by the appearance of this new central bank digital currency, it's not going to affect the pound. They don't want people panicking and thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to my cash? Well, unfortunately, I believe no matter what they say, people will panic, and I believe I know where people will invest their money, and it has to be this stuff right here, gold and silver bullion. Because as we know, when an economic crisis hits or financial markets struggle, people go to gold and silver, more so gold, but they do go to both because it's one of the safest hedges against inflation. Now, when I say safest hedges against inflation, it means that you can put this money into this asset and it will protect your wealth over a period of time, and it is extremely safe. It is so strong. Now, nothing is a sure thing, but when you look at gold prices, for example, only over the last 20 years, gold prices have increased over 550%. I mean, that is an incredible rate of increase, and over a 20-year period, that's an extremely strong showing of the strength that gold really does has. Now, I'm a big believer in the saying that a good way to predict the future is to look at the past, and that is so true when it comes to gold. Gold has been around for over 4,000 years, so in my opinion, I think it will continue to be around for a very, very long time. And I think there's so many billionaires and companies and governments invested in gold. You know, China has the biggest holding of gold, and then I believe it's the United States, and then a couple of other countries, and I think UK is around 4th or 5th. Do you really think that those countries would let the value of gold drop when they've got their literal backing, their spine of their wealth for the country in gold? Of course not, because it's their backup plan. So us small investors, if you can call us small, have nothing to worry about. I think gold and silver will continue to rise, and with this new resurgence of CBDCs, I only think it could potentially increase the price more. So what does that mean? Does that mean you should buy gold and silver now and dump all of your money? Or should you wait and just hope and see what happens? Well, I'm no financial advisor, and I do everything through my own advice and through my own experience, but you're free to do what you like. However, having said that, I do think now is a very good time to buy gold and silver, because when CBDCs do become prominent and they're on the BBC News and they're being talked about a lot more, I think gold prices will increase. So I think now potentially could be a good time to grab yourself some good investments to protect and store your wealth while the talk of CBDCs is still relatively quiet. Now, is the UK actually going to be moving to a central bank digital currency? Well, yeah, I've got to say they probably are, because the Bank of England has officially come down and said they are designing what they call a Brit coin, and it's becoming a reality. UK authorities on Monday said, this is Monday the 6th of February, said that the British businesses and consumers are likely to need a digital version of the pound, formally asking for the public to comment on the idea of introducing a central bank digital currency. Now, what they're saying there is that they're asking for the public's opinion on CBDCs. Well, I mean, I don't really see how they can do that, because most people do not understand CBDCs, and I'm not saying I do. I don't know everything about it. It's still so new to this environment of finances, but it's something I believe needs to be talked about more, because I do think it's going to have a dramatic effect on gold and silver prices. Now, some of the disadvantages of CBDCs would be that it could have a negative impact on monetary policy. Now, the ability of central banks to implement monetary policy could be limited by the use of CBDCs, which could potentially lead to increased inflation or other economic problems. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Inflation. Where do people stick their money when inflation happens? Gold and silver. And the Bank of England have literally said that it could potentially have an effect on the financial monetary value. Although they're saying in one side, £1 is going to be worth £1 when it's fiat currency and CBDC, but they're still saying we're aware that it may have an effect on the monetary value. So, I mean, that says it all really, doesn't it? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below regarding CBDCs. If you'd like to see more, also give me a comment and let me know as well. Thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the very next episode. Bye-bye, guys. To watch another episode on future investments, click the link now.